All right, friends. Thanks you to Gitanjali and our beloved choir. I got to spend some time with them during their practice yesterday. That was "The Way Knows the Way" by Lindsay Scott, and that is going to be our chant for the month. You don't have to know the way knows the way. So let's begin, as always, with a few breaths together. So, first, everyone, just exhale that out, breathe out, and let's take a breath together. Breathe in and let it go. Another deep breath. Breathe in and let go. One more deep breath in and let go. And then I want to invite all of us to just take a moment, place your hand on your heart, and think about someone you hoped to see at service today. If you were going to come in person, maybe it was someone you wanted to give a hug to. Maybe it's someone you haven't seen in a long time. Maybe it's even me. But think about someone from the center that you feel you have a connection to. And just imagine a cord of light and love connecting you and that person. And then just imagine that there are little tendrils connecting all of us. That even though we're not gathering in the same place, that we are spread out all over the county, in fact, all over the nation. And so let's just come together in a moment of mind, remembering that we are all together. Because what I know is that Lynn McTaggart tells us that anytime a group of people focus on the same thing at the same time, something more becomes available. So I just say that to remind us that even though that this week we're not in the same physical space, that our collective mind, that the energy that we create is still here. So take another deep breath in. So, as you may or may not know, with the Centers for Spiritual Living, we have our global themes that we share with many centers around the country and indeed around the world. And this month, December, the theme is called Sticking the Landing, which I think when it was originally written, there might have been this vision that we were going to be stepping into a whole new fabulous reality that we all co-created together by the end of the year. And that, sticking the landing is about when you step out, when you do something big, when you make that big leap and you land wholly grounded with your feet on the ground. We could also think about this idea of sticking the landing as, those moments when we have those comedic trips or falls or those great big fumbles and we catch ourselves and we land anyways. Maybe that's what sticking the landing's all about. This month I think we can use this theme as a call for us to stick the landing, to find the place where we're going to put our feet, where we're going to ground as a community for the next chapter of our time together, of what we're doing, of what we are evolving towards. So just breathe with me. Take another deep breath in. I've been contemplating a passage from Ernest Holmes in the Science of Mind textbook this week. And it was put out in the e-news, and it comes from the Science of Mind textbook, page 290, where Ernest Holmes, and I'm going to paraphrase, says something to the effect of, "No mistakes have been made. None can be made or will be made. For there's one divine intelligence that governs, guides, and guards, and tells us what to do and how to do it, how to be." And he goes on in that passage to then say, and then remind yourself that there's a presence that goes before you, that makes the way easy and clear. Now, I want us to think first about this idea of no mistakes, because I think it's really easy for us to take that and go, wait a minute, look at the world. Look at what's happening. There are plenty of things going on that we can look at that are clearly look like mistakes, that clearly look like things that should not be happening. And yet, if we're willing to remember and recognize and step back from whatever circumstances might be in front of us, and remember that we are only ever looking at a very small slice, a very small portion of what truly is, And that back of all things, beneath all things, within, surrounding, and holding all things, there is an infinite divine mind. There is a field of pure potential. There is a source and a force, a power, a presence that calls each one of us forward. And I know that in my own life, and I'm sure that it's true for many of us, that sometimes it's the biggest mistakes we've made that lead to the best possible results. That sometimes it's the big fumbles, it's the big mistakes, it's the big things that we do where we miss the mark, where we actually learn more about ourselves. We learn more about who we really truly are, who we're longing to be. And so what if this idea that no mistakes have been made or can be made or will be made is this idea that is to remind us that there is an unseen hand, there is an evolutionary force, there is a presence or a power for good that is working in all things. And that sometimes Spirit works through us, as us, for us, and with us in ways that are caused to shake us up, to wake us up, to crack us open. And so when I'm willing to look from that perspective, life itself becomes an invitation to pivot. It becomes an invitation to dance, to flow. That when things seem to break down, when things seem to go wrong, when things seem to be happening in the worst possible way, that we take it as our invitation. And instead of complaining, instead of talking about how we wanted it to be, or what mistakes we made that could have changed it, what if we just accepted what is? And then began to move forward from that place of acceptance, not only accepting what is, but asking into what is the invitation for me? How can I grow through this? How can I become more because of whatever it is that I'm dealing with right now? Each one of us, I know and believe, are here to evolve. Each one of us are here to learn more about love. Each one of us are here to learn more about the divine perfection that is inherent in all things. But in order to do that, we have to court a presence, an idea, a willingness to look for the higher truth in everything. And that's a mental practice, yes, but it has to be anchored in spiritual practice. In times of challenge, we are called ever more deeply to come from a grounded place. And so our spiritual practice is paramount for our navigation, for our ability to dance, for our ability to look for the good, for our ability to rise up and to evolve. It has to first start with a grounding, with a rooting. And that comes from our prayer practice, from the chants and the songs, from our meditation, from our spiritual study, from our time in community. That's where we soothe the pain, but it's also where we deepen into the truth. It's in our meditation. It's in our willingness to get still and to remember this idea that there's a presence that goes before us. As you've probably heard me say it before, Gene Houston calls it the entelechy, or the lure of becoming. That for each one of us there is a call, there is a path, there is a way forward. And the more that we're willing to sit and be grounded, the more that we are willing to listen, the more that we are willing to open up and not push against whatever is, but open up to the invitation, open up to the flow, open up to the possibility, that we then become the places where new thoughts, where new creative avenues, where new ways of being, where new solutions, where new possibilities of healing can emerge. So breathe that in for a moment. What if you were willing in this moment to just do a little inventory of your own life? And look back at all of the experiences, the path that you have walked, that led you to this moment right now. Looking all the way back to your childhood, through your adolescence, through all the various levels of growing up into a whole grown-up person in the world, And just think about your life's journey. What if you looked at your path as if you had never made a mistake? What if you looked back at your own personal history and put this context on top of it, that there was something calling you every step of the way, and that every wrong turn, every mistake, every fumble were the opportunities for growth. They were the ways that you were shaped, forged, and molded into the person that you were meant to be. And what if that is true for not only each one of us individually in the path that we've walked, what if that's true right now on our world? And I'm not saying to just smear good over all of the horrible things that are happening out there. What I'm saying is, what if we looked at it all as if it was for us? As if it was our invitation for growth? As if it were all of the issues, all of the pain, all the dis-ease, all that's unfolding around us and within us? What if this was here to push us, to invite us, to call us, to pull us forward? And whatever it is that seems to bring us pain is the invitation for healing. It's the invitation for us to rise up, to be more than we've ever been. The world needs us to not be swallowed up by circumstance, but to be fueled and powered by all that seems to be wrong, knowing that there is some greater force for good at work in all of it. And if we truly believe that, it can completely alter the way that we move through the world. As we watch everyone else stumbling and fumbling to understand the chaos, we can be the ones who show the way to dance through it all and be the place of creation, to be the place of possibility. So take a deep breath in and let it go. And take another deep breath in. And if it's comfortable for you, close your eyes and breathe a little deeper. And maybe even recite these words in your mind or out loud. No mistakes have been made. None can be made or will be made. For there is one supreme intelligence that governs, guides, and guards. It whispers into my mind and tells me when to act and how to act. So breathe in again. In that passage, Ernest Holmes continues and says, everything necessary to the full and complete expression of the most boundless experience of joy is mine now. So breathe a little deeper. And let's breathe into this idea that there is only one. One infinite power, one infinite presence, one field of possibility, one life that is living and breathing in, through, and as everyone, everything, every when, everywhere, all the time. One life, one infinite being. And what I know is that each one of us are the unique individualizations of that one mind. Each one of us are the universe's infinite potential manifest in human form. Each one of us a unique avenue of creation. And so let's know that each one of us, as the embodiments of possibility, as the embodiments of healing and wholeness and power, that we come into this world with an awakened presence, that each one of us are choosing right here and right now to look out at the world and to see a divine perfection that is at work in all things for the purpose of awakening our global heart, our global mind, awakening our collective consciousness, that each one of us is being cracked, that we are being opened, that we are being molded and made into something more. So let's realize that when we look out into a world that needs love, we are the love that we are looking for. When we are looking into a world that seems to need justice, each one of us has the invitation to be the embodiment of that justice. That as we look out into the world and see pain and disruption and confusion, each one of us has the opportunity to be the healer, to be the lover, to be the place of connection and deep understanding and awareness. So let's drop in, realizing that there is so much more here than we can see. There is so much for us to be grateful for. There is something greater than we are, a power for good in this universe that is at work in all things. Let us choose to see it. And then let us choose to be it. Because if we can see that everything necessary for the highest possibility is already here, then we have to be the ones who choose it, who act upon it, who live it in a new way. And so from that place, I speak a word of gratitude for this beloved community. This community of mind. That we are awakening to our spiritual magnificence. And that each one of us are living, walking, breathing centers for spiritual living. Each one of us a center. Each one of us the way that spirit is living in the world. Each one of us living in spirit. We are living inspiration. So let's breathe it in and let go and trust the flow. And accept the invitation to dance as we move together into our greatest yet to be and into our next possibility. And so with that, I say, and so it is.